But for this person, he can come with files of recollection to study hard and perform. It was said that it's an order by the chief judge. No, the court, you can bring any papers you like. Your Honor, Your Honor. Yes, when I speak, I'm your brother, I mean brotherhood of Iraq. I'm not scared of being executed. Nobody can explain my history from 59 till now. I know that there is pressure on you. Yes, I'll get to the question. I'll come. Oh, now the time is tight. You have what's allowed to. You have to what you are talking about. You can talk in your defense. Now we are addressing a specific issue. The plaintiff talked about some issue, and if you have anything question related to that, then go. Yes, I have, and it's so unfortunate that I have to be confronting one of my sons. It's not for me. It's for the sake of Iraq, for the people. Give me time to talk. This is my right. This is my right. I served you 30 years. We are before a criminal case. Give me time. Give me a chance. Give me room. Don't interrupt me. I'm defending myself. I'm not defending myself. I'm defending you all. He was allowed to bring in files, but I write on my hand what I have to remember to give you. Nobody gave you papers, and I told them, why don't you give him papers? Bring an ID card. Yes, they give. I was given, but after I asked for it. Is this equality? Is this justice? The defendant, Your Honor, I want to spears or to swords against the enemy. This man, we don't know what conditions. Don't interrupt me. Maybe he has conditions. He was under pressure. He was in a position, a certain psychological position, a situation, maybe for his own health, for his medical situation, for his sake. I ask that he get examined by a doctor from an independent body. If he needs medical care, please give it to him. If he needs advice, advise him. If he is truthful, then give him what he deserves in fairness. He mentioned that Saddam Hussein went to the party headquarters. This is, he wants, this was all staged so that the public opinion is distorted and is just like the prosecutor said that Saddam Hussein interrogated some of the accused. It's laughable what they said, and you didn't allow me to discuss that with the prosecutor. You have time at that time. Yes. If Saddam Hussein is visiting the party, was visiting the party at that time, then everything he said is true. Is true. Not everything about Saddam Hussein. Everything he said about. he said about Taha, about Barzan, that if Saddam Hussein has hit even one Iraqi with this hand, then all of what he said is true. Any Iraqi. And if what he said is true. Any Iraqi. And if he said is true. Any Iraqi. And if then he is saying the truth. If Muhammad Aish was then he said his name was, he said he saw the name on. Okay, anyway, what's more, if I ask you, Your Honor, give me the birth date of anybody except your family. Do you know? Do you know? If I asked you to give me a name of a person and his birth date other than your family member, you don't know. You ask the questions. Maybe you know dates of birth of certain people and not. I like to defend Iraq. I like to warn people. This person memorizes dates of birth of everybody. How did he memorize all of that? Why did he memorize all these dates of birth? Then there is an intention. And it was staged. It's unfortunate that this man was set up. It's unfortunate that this man, the point is there. Thank you. The point is there. Thank you. Excuse me, the names that he objected to, I'm in the prison, and they take attendance and they call out names and birth dates. So I memorized everything, everybody in Abu Ghraib. Yes, refer me to a medical body for examination. Yes, I agree, but not for my psychological status. For my feet, they hurt me because of torture. The second witness, Jawad Abdul Aziz Jawad. Plaintiff Jawad Abdul Aziz Jawad.
David Sheffer, if you're listening here, one question that I have, it would appear to me that Saddam Hussein has control of this trial more than the judge.
Well, it was an extraordinary exchange, and I would have thought the judge could have cut him off much earlier by sticking to the program, which he ultimately tried to do, which was instruct Saddam Hussein to ask questions of the witness. That's the procedure at that point in the trial, is to ask questions of the witness and not to have all of these diatribes which you heard Saddam Hussein continue with.
You know, and what is really interesting here is the way that Saddam Hussein is crafting this so he does take control of the trial, saying to the judge, give me time to talk. He's really giving him orders, and as you say, he says he's going to get to a question, and that question doesn't come. Instead, he speaks about his own position in Iraqi society, his equality with other Iraqis.
Right. And it is extraordinary because typically you would have defense counsel at an appropriate time in the trial having the freedom to make all of these comments about the quality of the defendant how he portrays himself and his rights and his responsibilities.
Is it right, though, that the defense counsel or Saddam get to question the witness right at this point in time?
Yes, and the procedure for this court is that is precisely appropriate, but it also points out one of the weaknesses of this trial. This is a joint trial of 8 defendants. Therefore, you do, again, have this seeming chaos where you've got to go through each of these defendants with any of their questions they have for one single witness. It's a very, very prolonged process, and it again speaks to what some of us have argued about for months now as to whether or not the wisest course is to proceed with a joint trial of this character where you have very minor figures plus very major figures, or whether you should concentrate on just the major figures and bring the lower figures in, frankly, as witnesses against the top guys through plea bargaining and what have you. But it does show some of the perceived disorganization of the trial itself. I might also just add, Jim, that I found it just extraordinary how the witness stood up to Saddam Hussein, looked at him very, very, strongly throughout that time that Saddam Hussein was standing, and then rebutted him fairly effectively.
Fairly effectively until the judge told him, don't interrupt.
Yes, exactly.
You know, this is, anyone watching this, and here we got Saddam Hussein talking again, or lecturing the judge once again. This, this goes to a lot of people's fears that Saddam Hussein will turn all of this around into a kind of a media circus where he just reasserts his role in Iraqi society. I mean, the whole thing about no pen or paper, and then he said, well, yes, they offered me paper. Yes, he has a pen. He's obviously writing on his hand.
And that was another problem I saw with the judge. The judge then said, well, why shouldn't you have paper? You should have paper to write these things down. We've seen this before with the judge where he didn't seem to have complete control of the security arrangements right outside the courtroom when the defendants were being brought in. Initially they were brought in shackled, and he immediately instructed them, or not immediately, he had to sort of be reminded, and then he told them they shouldn't be shackled when they walk into the courtroom. One wonders how much control he has of the immediate security and custodial arrangements for these particular defendants. If they're supposed to have paper, then they should have paper instead of writing on their hand. That'll be the photograph in tomorrow's newspaper, is Saddam Hussein's hand raised with all that writing on it,
Yeah, and we're looking there